All right, folks, we are live. Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. It's a special evening here on Smash This Podcast. We've got Mr. Killer Kross joining me, and Mr. Chris Phoenix is along for the ride as well tonight. Welcome, Killer. How you doing?
Très bien, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Now that is French?
Lazy English.
Okay. Chris, do you want to fire off anything at Killer this evening?
Off the top of my head, I got nothing as far as questions go. I just saw, some of your work and Impact, and looking forward to more of it in the coming weeks.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, as we saw this evening on Impact Wrestling just a little bit ago, they announced for next week at Redefined, you're going to be in a match with the champ that you're backing up as of recently, Austin Aries, against Moose and Eddie Edwards. Moose recently returning from concussion. Thoughts on this match that you probably just found out about?
I mean, Moose is on his way to getting concussion number 2, maybe even 3, 4, 5, and 6, and he should have minded his own business. And it's going to be good for ratings because violence is excellent for ratings and viewership. So that's really all I have to say on the subject.
I absolutely agree. As we just saw with the Mexican death match, let's just run down a few of these things that I caught off of killerkross.com. Cauliflower Alley Rising Star Award 2018. That's huge. That's a banquet that happens every year. How was it to get that award this year?
It was very humbling to be acknowledged by my peers. There's there's a hierarchy, there's a pecking order, there's a system that's perpetuated in professional wrestling. And the older generations tend to be very set in their ways for very good reasons. They drew a living, they drew an income, they were able to draw a lot of people to buildings on average that, respectfully to the industry today, they don't draw the same as they used to. So they have a certain set way of thinking. So to be acknowledged by them, being a new generation person, being compared to older generations, is very humbling. And, there's a level of gratitude that words elude me in terms of trying to place it.
I don't blame you. I would be humble myself if I had something like that. It is quite spectacular. Breakout Luchador 2017, favorite wrestler of 2016-17. Wrestler of the Year 15 through 17, best promos of the year 14 through 17, and you're called the Devil of Monterrey. And you earned that down in AAA, I believe.
That's correct. It started off in a newspaper, actually. Apparently a newspaper rolled that out. It was about a month and a half later. I don't remember where I was. I think I was in Juarez, or maybe I was in Aguascalientes, but I was checking into a hotel and the bellman had noticed me. He recognized who I was and he spoke English. And he told me that the newspapers were calling me the Devil of Monterrey. And they were saying that it was refreshing to have a Rudo, a heel, down there that wasn't relying on racism or racial narratives of the American flag and such to engage the people, to really get the people to dislike him. They thought it was refreshing to have a villain like that, because most foreigners come down to Mexico and they kind of feel like their intelligence is being undermined a little bit with the repetitive nature of the narratives and such. I just go down there and I terrorize people, and I think that's what the people want to be terrorized. They want to be as close to the danger as humanly possible without having to actually engage in it and roll the dice. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You have done a lot of terrorizing down there within the last few years. Let's go back to where this all started for you. When did you get into professional wrestling?
Well, I'd say about 4 years ago, I was getting really, really tired of being involved with pro MMA camps. It was something I had moved to Las Vegas to do. I wanted to fight professionally. I always wanted to be a professional wrestler, but didn't really have a supportive system of people around me encouraging me to do it. It was more or less something that was treated as trivial in comparison to lacing people out cold on television in a professional fighting, prize fighting format. But it just got to a point where I wasn't in love with mixed martial arts anymore. It's a recreational lifestyle for me at this point now. Without it, I would really go crazy. I would really lose my mind. But I always want to be a professional wrestler. So I decided to head down to FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling Academy in Las Vegas. And the first month I started training, I was already in front of a live audience. I took to it naturally because I really wanted to do it. And I think just people in general, whenever you really want to do something, whenever your heart and mind is committed to something, people can do anything.
Yeah, that's true. As far as before all that, becoming a fan of pro wrestling, did you watch it as a kid? Did you have any favorites back in your youth?
Always. I always had favorites. I never really had one person that stood out, to be fair. I was a weird kid when it came to professional wrestling. I liked everybody. I loved to hate Rick Rude. Remember Rick Rude and Ultimate Warrior was kind of that was like the feud, so to speak, for me growing up. Them, the Rockers, Power and Glory, Paul Roma, and Hercules. All those guys, Demolition, Hart Foundation, Mach, everybody. As I grew up and I started to get my feet wet with catch wrestling and so forth, I started to gravitate more towards technicians and away from the characters. Taz was someone that I found his ring style, his navigational patterns were magnetic to me because as I was doing amateur stuff and I was participating in grappling, that what he was doing, his presentation of pro wrestling, him, Gary Albright, Dr. Death, there was just something there. I was just like, this looks real. It feels real. And it was just something different about it. I've had so many favorites. I feel like a lot of guys, when they're asked this question, they answer politically. Like they feel inclined to say Hulk Hogan or The Rock or Ric Flair. When people ask you what your favorite match is, the guys in the business feel inclined to say it was Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon because they feel like they're perhaps being I don't know, how do I say it? Like if their peers heard them say anything else, they think that they didn't understand the business or something. I feel like there's always just like these political answers. But for me, I've always loved all of it. Like I don't even think I have a favorite match. I can tell you my top five in no particular order, but I've just really enjoyed professional wrestling that much to that level growing up, watching it.
A broad spectrum of stuff. Awesome. One of the first places I heard of you was Jeff Jarrett's GFW. Now, beyond the opinion of the internet wrestling community, it may not be his favorite, may not be their cup of tea right now, because for other reasons that I'm not going to get into right here. But how did you get involved with Jeff Jarrett and Global Force Wrestling a few years ago?
They were coming to Las Vegas and they were trying to organize something through the professional wrestling academy that I was training at. And I think they inquired, as to who would be available to do anything. Do they have anybody who's ready? And they threw a bunch of names in the hat. And Jeff and Sanjay initially were like, we want that guy. So that's basically just kind of how it happened. I met with Jeff Jarrett. I met with Sanjay. They reviewed my work online and we were off to the races. But I have to say, I was pretty furious with my presentation with Global Force Wrestling, and that had nothing to do with GFW itself. But, I've always had the presentation that you guys are seeing of what I'm doing on television right now has been in my head for 4 years. And I've been trickling it out onto the independents and through my YouTube channel and killerkross.com and such. I've been trying to put that on blast so people can see it, so major companies can trust me on the execution of this character presentation on television. Because if you try to go to someone who's set in their ways, a guy who's second generation, third generation, their fathers were promoters, they've been in the business, and you tell them that your name is Killer Kross and you're beating people half to death and you're punching through concrete, you know what I mean? Like, you can just imagine how they're going to react to that. They're not going to be very receptive to it. So I felt that my presentation in Global Force was very watered down, and there wasn't enough time between the point of contact and tapings to really allow them to soak in what I was doing. And it really wasn't until years later when people got to see me on a variety of different Latin American channels with AAA. Their distribution is outstanding, although it's not in the United States. And on the independents, I made enough noise, and word got around I was working with Lucha Underground. I just started to get more of my work out there. I started working all over the world. Don Callis was the one who actually reached out to me for this Impact thing, what you guys are seeing. And he was very well educated on what I was doing. So it wasn't a hard sell whatsoever. Like, he completely understood. He did his homework. He reviewed everything. We sat, we talked, and here we are.
That's awesome. It is awesome. Yeah, and I can hear you. I mean, it seemed like a nice package what they were trying to build in GFW. It just never went further than it did. I understand your frustration there. Shortly after that, you signed with Lucha Underground, and although your on-screen time has been limited, can you talk about the character a little bit and how it came about?
Sure. We've had a variety of different types of ideas, all kind of in the general same direction for me. A lot of people don't know this, and the believers at the temple are so cool about not, putting spoilers out there. But I've been with Lucha Underground since season 2. I've been wrestling darks for them since season 2, and we finally decided to pull the trigger on the proper presentation for me in the programming, which aired season 4, which is currently on right now on El Rey Network. And the name of the character is basically the White Rabbit. There's Aztec tribes in Lucha Underground, and for some of them that know that they are in a tribe, they're kind of smartened up to try to find their god. Each Aztec tribe has a god, and this is such in their literature as well. It's based on actual cultural ideologies and theories and such. So Paul London has been the figurehead of the Rabbit Tribe with a variety of other characters that are involved, and he winds up going on a search with the Rabbit Tribe to find the White Rabbit, and they do, and he's not exactly what they thought he was going to be. The Rabbit Tribe has had sort of a comedic presentation. It's kind of been a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff, and we're going to continue preserving that, but we wanted to take this comedy concept and put a horror spin on it. So, and that's what we've done. It's kind of more of a comedy horror leading more towards horror as you go deeper down the rabbit hole, pun intended.
It is. I mean, we've seen members of the Rabbit Tribe disappear one by one, and I don't want to go into Spoilerville here as far as what's coming up, but I can't wait to see where this is going with Paul London. And obviously, like I said, your time on TV has been limited, but as to what the White Rabbit is going to do as a result of this, I can't wait to see.
Well, thank you. I can tell you, everyone, right now, without spoiling anything, it's going to get progressively more violent and disturbing. So if that's your cup of tea for television, then stay tuned. It's amazing what they're doing right now. I review it on a weekly basis with Chris Phoenix. Chris, your thoughts on what we saw yesterday with what just happened with Ricky Mandel last night?
That one is definitely one of the more violent out of the ring storylines, and it's definitely what Lucha on El Rey has been known for, the kind of like Camp Gore style of Robert Rodriguez's productions, similar to From Dusk Till Dawn. And if that is more of what's to come, then yes, the true believers and all the fans of Lucha will love every minute of it, especially what will come in the future, for the Rabbit Tribe. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's been a very different season, and I think I think it's scaring some people away because it is so different. But I can't wait to see what it hasn't scared me away in the least. And what's nice is they're starting to bring together all these old storylines from 4 seasons ago. So, um, your time on House of Hardcore may have been brief, but I think you still put a significant stamp on that promotion. How did you start working with Tommy Dreamer?
Tommy and I knew each other for about a year. We just um, kept winding up on the same shows, primarily in the Carolinas. And eventually we wound up working in Las Vegas. And once we hit the curtain, once the match was over, he goes, "Okay, you passed the test." And I go, "What test?" And he's like,
Nice.
"We just did ring time." He's like, "I want you in my company." I don't just hire my friends. I hire people that I can trust that will contribute to the content. He goes, "We've been friends for a little bit now." He goes, "I've watched you work for a while now, but it's just a different thing for me personally once I'm in the ring with somebody." So based on that, we went and launched the Killer Kross character with House of Hardcore, which was a blast. It was absolutely awesome. And getting to work Nunzio, I mean, I don't think I probably would have pursued professional wrestling had I not found ECW, because the presentation of that, like I was saying earlier before, there was just something very carnal and very magnetic about ECW versus the rest of the professional wrestling that was available to watch on TV at the time. And it just left an imprint in my mind.
Yeah, it's and I think Lucha Underground is drawing a very similar fan base. They're looking something for more real, something more organic, something. Yeah, I don't know how else to say that, but yeah, exactly.
Something
Um,
a little bit more visceral, something that could be construed closer to Japanese style, but more spin.
you're cutting out there a little bit, Chris.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, man. That's
The
okay.
Wi-Fi stuff. What? Yeah, well, the style that seems cropping up more and more is more akin to the New Japan style, something a little bit more smash and be construed as strong style.
Yeah, I think more fans are going towards that. Um, let's talk about your time in AAA a little bit. It's been devastating to say the least. Last year, you backed another champ, Johnny Mundo. How did you come about back in Mundo and Taya and that crew?
Well, essentially, I had a rapport with everyone for the most part in AAA because of my time at Lucha Underground, and everyone was becoming increasingly more frustrated with me not being on television with Lucha, but not for not in a way that they were mad at anyone, just being like, when are they going to put you on TV? And they had wrapped season 3, and Ty and Johnny were basically saying, "Hey, we're in AAA, like, come work with us." I'm like, "Sure." So they spoke with Krista Joseph, who's the head writer, and then Chris spoke with me, and then Chris spoke with Vampiro, and I think it was like 3 weeks later, I was in AAA, and we did that whole thing. So that's been awesome. It's been confusing and bizarre and very uncoordinated and chaotic, but for me, the only thing I really care about is getting to the curtain. Working in Mexico, you just have to go through a lot more, to be perfectly honest, to get to the curtain as you would anywhere else in the world. But once you get out there, you're working in front of 3,000, even 40,000 people with Triple Mania last year. Nothing beats that. I mean, the energy there is just, you can, like, literally, you could feel it in the air. There's like a buzz of electricity. It's just the craziest thing. It's unreal.
And speaking of Triple Mania, and you've recently been aligned with Conan and a few others in a group called MAD. Hoovy, Teddy Hart, and I believe Jack Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you guys have been running Roughshot, and recently Jeff Jarrett became the champ at one of their last bigger shows within the last couple months, and he's also a part of this. And Jeff Jarrett's in the main event against three other guys: Brian Cage, Phoenix, and Rich Swann. Now, are you going to be at Triple Mania? I glanced at the card. I didn't see you on it. Are you going to be just backing the champ, or do you have other plans there, or is that something you can even talk about? Or
I'll be at Triple Mania. Why I'm not on the card, I've been getting asked that for the last 4 weeks, and I couldn't tell you. That has to do with private conversations that take place that I'm not privy to. Just the typical kind of shit that I've been dealing with over the last year and a half. But the way I observe it is, there's a couple trains of thought. One, I could not be on the show whatsoever at all. That would be pretty shitty. The other train of thought here would be, I'm happy to be on the show in any sort of capacity whatsoever. And then the third train of thought would be, I feel that I have a greater value to the company that's not being utilized, and I'd like to participate in a greater role. But they pick and choose who they're going to shove down people's throats, and it's nothing to be upset or angry about, because my value is going to be determined on television elsewhere, and then they'll come knocking on the door once again when business for me personally picks up.
I hear you. Yeah, because last year, like I said, you were back in Mundo, and then I don't know exactly, what was kayfabe and what wasn't kayfabe as far as Taya and Mundo leaving and going to Impact Wrestling. Mm-hmm. And then you were there still knocking heads around, and then all of a sudden, poof, you were gone. You even had a briefcase at a time.
Yeah, I quit. That's the truth of it. I left the company. There was a variety of different situations and circumstances that just there was no justification for the level of unprofessionalism that I was dealing with at the time. I didn't take it personally, but they wanted to treat it and observe it as business, and they wanted to be very shrewd about it. So, I just decided, okay, well, my career and my life does not rest on this operation, so I'll go elsewhere, and I did. And then I was called back again several months later. So.
And you're back in another champ now. So we'll find out this Saturday. And for as far as like American viewers, Triple Mania was just announced that it's going to be on the AAA English Twitch channel, and is going to be announced by Lucha Underground's Matt Striker and Vampiro.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of those two on TV every week, so I have no qualms about them calling. And honestly, for American fans, I think that helps a lot because there is the language barrier, so it's hard to tell who's who and what the rivalries are. So I think that's going to help out a lot. Matt Striker and Vampiro should help out with that a lot. So Impact Wrestling has been your biggest stage so far, in my opinion. The introduction to your character, the build-up behind the scenes has been by far some of the best hidden secrets, in my opinion, as well. Who came up with the structure and the idea of this whole, the security guard attack and the 1-by-1 hit on everyone? Did you have some input on this, or is this someone's great mind behind the scene?
I would say the credit should go to Don Callis. I think he had a general idea and a direction he wanted to take the character presentation in that he was aware of, and he just allowed me to kind of get to where he needed me to go creatively, which has been amazing. Being in a company like this that doesn't stifle anything you want to do creatively is amazing. I mean, we're all in one way or another artists, and we want to paint you something that you haven't seen before. We don't want to just keep painting on the same canvas, the same picture for every week that you tune in. And we're given a lot of creative flexibility, which is amazing. And I think that's really starting to shine through in the programming, because it's not just me, it's everybody.
Yeah, it's been one of the best build-ups ever. Chris, do you have anything you want to throw in here?
You know what? I would second that, and I would say that I've been watching Impact since it came on Spike back in 06. We're coming around, and the product was like a more of like the over 40 club like WCW used to be, and it's had its ups and downs over the past decade and a half, give or take. But yes, absolutely has become much more creative within the past year or so, ever since Anthem took over the company, started backing the right people, bringing in the right people, the right creatives, the right writers. Don Callis, an amazing creative force, and I'm glad he's bringing more content like yours and like so many others nowadays that are just making the product even better and must watch every week.
Absolutely.
It is. I mean, you guys aren't throwing people into dumpsters filled of, blue goo. That was like my turnoff point right there with another show. I'm not even going to say what it was. Impact Wrestling has been phenomenal. The show flows. It's got violence. It's edgy, and your content, and now you're backing the champ, which was a complete shock, I think, to everyone. Did not see that coming.
No, nobody did, and that was the reason why we were doing that. We want to keep people thinking and guessing, and even the presentation of what people are watching right now, that's going to change very quickly. People think they have a handle on what they're seeing, they don't, and every time they feel like they're going to, they were definitely led in the direction to feel like they had an idea of what was happening, so we could mislead them and send them in another misdirection again, for the sake of entertainment, though, not maliciously.
Well, I love what they're doing. The production has been incredible. Like I said, the show flows, and props to everyone involved, including yourself. I know your time is valuable, but I know you've got a lot of stuff on your plate coming up. Besides Triple Mania coming up this weekend, which I invite everyone to watch, you have something else coming up, and I'm going to All In. And there was one place where I was hoping you were going to be at, but you have other plans that weekend. Do you want to plug that?
Sure. I believe Expo Lucha is what you're talking about. It's going to be taking, yes, Expo Lucha is in Las Vegas. This is the biggest Lucha Libre event in Las Vegas history, and it's right up there in United States history. There's going to be a lot of people involved, and I will be there on the 31st of this month, August, and the 1st of September, and perhaps other dates. But as of right now, those two are locked in. And if you'd like to figure out anything, what I'm up to, scheduling wise, promotions wise, merchandise wise, my history, my media, it's on killerkross.com, KROSS. I have everything there. Everything that I've ever done from the very beginning, I've done my absolute best to archive. So the day I went to television, I knew people were going to have no idea where I came from. I just had a hunch. So since day one, I have archived everything I possibly can. You can watch it for free.
It is. Folks, seriously, go to killerkross.com and check out the promos on there. Go to his YouTube channel. I've been telling people for years, Killer Kross, go to your YouTube channel. The stuff you're putting on there is bar none some of the most terrifying, most incredibly awesome wrestling stuff ever. It defines you perfectly, and it's must watch.
Thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate that.
And and just you being on here has been a joy and a pleasure. I'm not sure if anybody else has ever said that to you before, but I'll be first if it hasn't. Any final word? I know you've got some other heads to kick in tonight, so I'm gonna let you go. Any final words to say to your fans out there, Killer Kross?
I want to say thank you to everybody who's been there for the ride. I understand professional wrestling is not everything to everybody. It's very easy to fall away from any sort of programming on television these days. But for the most part, I recognize the names that keep showing up on my social media. I recognize the faces that keep showing up to the shows for the last 4 years. Everybody has been behind me since day one, and everyone had faith that I was going to be where I was. It was just up to me to put the work in and the time in, and there was a faith that was extended to me from the fans since the very beginning. And I'm just letting anybody and everybody know that who's listening to this, that I may not always remember the names, but I remember the faces, and I appreciate that energy that's been extended to me. And I'm not going to be disappointing anybody. I'm going to be trying to preserve what I've put out there since the very beginning. And I am very well aware of what people want in their professional wrestling program. So if somebody else isn't doing it, I'm going to do my best to do it, whether it's old school, whether it's hyper violence, whether it's those old school style Jake the Snake Roberts, the enunciation, the way we elicit everything. I was a fan once upon a time, and I haven't let that die in me. So thank you very much to everyone, including yourself.
And thank you again. You have a great night, Killer Kross, and you have an open invitation anytime to stop by here on Smash This Podcast. You have a great evening. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well,
Wow.
that was Killer effing Kross, folks. And I didn't I apologize for not paying attention to the chat because I had my questions right up here, right over the chat. Looks like there's a lot of people here. I want to thank everybody for joining in here for this. That was a treat. Thoughts on that, Chris?
That guy is the genuine friggin' article. You know, he's everything good about modern pro wrestling these days. And he is going to be contributing to the current boom period. I have no doubt about that. Honestly, I think between Lucha, Impact, New Japan, and any other decent indie fed out there, that guy is the guy to watch. That guy is the guy who should be your champion. Super awesome, violent heel champion. Very yes.
Yeah.
And Triple H, Vince, if you get your hands on this guy, you're gonna want to make him the guy to topple everyone else. That includes Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, and even Braun Strowman. That guy is the guy to watch.
Well, you know, and there was a couple other things I did want to ask him. I know he did.
Yeah, me too.
Spend a little time on it, you know, and I know we only had him for a certain amount of time. Like I said, he's got some other heads to kick in there down in Vegas.
Absolutely.
So I by no means wanted to take him away from that, or upset him, you know.
Yeah.
You don't want to piss off Kross.
Hell no.
But thank you everyone for joining in. Now we're going to get into this week's Impact Wrestling. Phoenix, you sticking around for that?
Yeah, I got time.
Awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate it, and I know you've got fans on here. So, we missed you last night, but if we get you tonight, hey, it's even better. Got even more to talk about. But before we get into this, like I said, we usually do have you on for Lucha Underground. Your quick thoughts on last night's show. What did you? I mean, you talked a little bit about it while we had Kross on, but what did you think?
Remind me which one was the ones that were on last night. I tend to forget from day to day. You know, my work day kind of like blanks out my mind, and like the awesomeness of Lucha kind of like fades from my mind for the day. So I don't remember like what matches were on that card.
It was the cage match. It was actually called the Haunted House match between the Mac and Mil Muertes with Katrina at ringside, and then
it's one of the bloodiest matches that Mac is ever.
Yeah, I could not believe it.
Work for the Blade. Yeah,
the butcher knife there.
Which is awesome.
Oh,
exactly.
that was sick. Then they had
start with Melissa Santos. Not exactly what I would like to see, but I am definitely hoping that she's going to be okay. Famous B bringing out for the ring announcing for the rest of the matches. That was really good. The match itself, violent, but pretty much child's play for Mil Muertes at this point. Or Mac, I hope he makes a speedy recovery, and I hope he goes after Mil Muertes and puts him in a coffin. This time on a more semi-permanent basis to come back at Ultima Lucha Quattro. But that was a rough one, and to see Arena say no to his bidding, that was a welcome change.
Yeah, she wearing that medallion. I think she got some strength that was interesting. Of course, she got banged up for she paid the price for that, but I can't wait to see where that goes. Then of course we had Cage versus Pentagon. That was a treat.
Oh yeah, it's something that we're bound to see again in Impact in the coming weeks. I know that last week we actually saw him face off against Pentagon's brother, Phoenix, my namesake, and that was a hell of a match in and of itself. So to see him go after Pentagon in what was the lead up the previous week that just all over the they did barely do this week, and that in and of it's one of the blood seen Pentagon participate in the pay-per-view. It's, I believe, anniversary between him and Callahan. That was also one of the bloody matches I've ever seen Pentagon in. But you know what? You want blood feuds upon blood feuds is some of the most violent stuff you ever see. I can't wait to see Kross take on Pentagon. That is going to be a knockdown, drag out, kill you match. Reminiscent of like, what was it? This match I recently saw with Joey Janewire on Twitch or something like that. It was brutal as hell.
Yeah, that's definitely a match that Kross has been asking for at least a year now, if not longer, is a match with Pentagon. And it's going to be interesting to see on what stage he gets it first. Is it going to be Lucha Underground? Is it going to be Impact? Is it going to be AAA? Because they're all on a bunch of different stages. Demon Rocks in the chat says, by the way, I loved MLW Fusion review. It's a great companion to Lucha Underground and Impact Wrestling. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm trying to pick different things that I think are making a difference on the independent wrestling scene that are also on TV, and that that I feel are a good alternative. Impact Wrestling, Lucha Underground, they're all good alternatives. I'm also planning on checking out Ring Warriors when that hits TV within the next couple months somewhere. Tapings are going on soon, so keep an eye out for that. I just started seeing things on social media about that. Chat is loaded. Great to see. So yeah, let's talk about this a little. Impact Wrestling review for this evening, the 23rd, starts out with Eddie Edwards calling out the champ and Killer Kross. I don't know if it's more cojones or just lunacy.
Damage to the kendo stick. He's insane. I'm loving every minute of it. This Eddie Edwards is my Eddie Edwards. If I was a legitimate in-ring wrestler, this guy is the guy I would be. He is batshit crazy. He is small. He is powerful. Fields can reckless abandon, and he has some very strong and powerful and violent friends. So yes, very yes. I'm looking forward to what Eddie and Moose are doing, but at the same time, you can never ever count out Austin Aries or Killer Kross.
Yeah, the more I see Kross with Aries together, I'm just like, man, it's just a genius move. Like I said to him just a little bit ago, I'm like, man, no one saw that coming. Because I had fantasy booked Kross coming into Impact Wrestling and them doing a very similar thing to how they did in AAA last year, where he was backing Johnny Impact, Taya at his side, the power couple, and Kross being the muscle, and Johnny just going on this ride with the Impact Wrestling Championship. And they completely have done, none of them have even crossed paths at all, other than them saying that Johnny's recently married to Taya. So it's refreshing. So Kross and Aries come down and just choke the hell out of Edwards. He's left in a heap. Moose comes down for the rescue. Moose is back from his concussed state that we saw post Slammiversary. And this all leads to a match next week at Redefined. We're going to get Moose and Eddie Edwards in a match against Aries and Kross. Your thoughts on this, Phoenix?
No, man, it's going to be brutal. No matter what, it's going to be brutal. Impact brings the brutal these days, and I'm loving it. Anything this TV 14 to TVMA, they need to bring back the violence, the real smash mouth in this wrestling biz. This PG crap is not for wrestling fans. It's for sports entertainment fans.
Yeah.
This is why we go to the PG era. No, we're going to the WWE. And to that, my good friend Mark would reply, "This isn't real wrestling, okay? You need some real smash mouth violence. You need some catch can, some kendo sticks, some barbed wire, some Lego bricks on the floor with the glass and some tacks, and you're slamming the power bomb through the tables on fire. That's what you need." And as he would also say, "Time for my Lord and Master CM Punk made Roman Reigns burn in hell. At least he's the U.S. World Universal Champion or something right now instead of being friggin' Roman Reigns. I hate that guy's a bully. But yeah, it's out with that. Forget about it. You're not."
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never heard this before, this is Chris Phoenix's alter ego, Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm from Chicago originally. I moved to Philadelphia briefly, but I'm currently on the road promoting my self-titled spoken word album, Mark in 1,000 Words or More.
Oh, I haven't heard Mark in a while. It's great to hear him. Thank you very much. So, Mark, your favorite is CM Punk. Do you think he's going to show up at All In?
He's going to show up. He's going to say a few words. He's going to insult the fans like he does. He's going to say goodnight. He's going to be lucky if he makes it out of there alive, given the recent climate of the IWC versus our good friend Colt Cabana.
Yeah, that has been some very interesting news that came out recently. And Chicago is a loud bunch, and I can't wait to see what happens. Oh God, CM Punk. Styles, I got money, he no shows. Yeah, you know what? It's being like reported that he was offered money and he decided to turn it down. Now, of course, that always happens right before something big happens. I'm trying to contain my excitement. He's got a signing a few doors down from the arena the day before. We'll see what happens.
CM Punk confirmed.
Thank you, Ollie Davis. By the way, I have been watching a lot more Wrestle Talk lately, and a lot of times when I see promos, all of a sudden I'll hear the voice of Ollie Davis in my head. I'm starting to think I watch it a little too much. I love that guy, though.
I get that way too.
It's hilarious. Go check out Wrestle Talk, folks. Ollie Davis is a fun guy to watch. And I don't even watch WWE anymore, and I watch his views on WWE just to keep up with stuff. And
Same here.
It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Great news for Impact Wrestling fans. I think this is a first. They're doing tapings in a couple weeks down in Mexico.
Taping Impact in Mexico.
That's
wow.
See.
See.
I can't wait to see what's going to happen down there. I can't even imagine. I'm not familiar with the place that they're doing it at. I really don't know. I don't watch a lot of AAA, but apparently the place that they're doing it at is a place that's recently been reopened. So I'm looking to see something possibly, maybe a shiny new place being refurbished, a small arena, something. It's going to be interesting to see what they do down there. The next match we see is a debut, someone that I've wanted in Impact Wrestling to side with. Oh my God, almost said Xavier Woods. The hell's the guy's name?
Desmond
He won.
Xavier?
Desmond Xavier, dear Lord, thank you. See, this is why I have you on. You make up for the lack of my 2 brain cells that I have in my head. Desmond Xavier, he tag teams with him. Oh my God, I might have to grab a beer and refresh my head a little bit.
I can't remember what the name of the tag team is. It's like something Maniacs. I forget what is it.
The Rascals.
The Rascals. Thank you.
Yes.
I was thinking the Filthy Animals, but that's a little too far ago. That was like 20 years ago.
That was.
But yes, the
close.
Rascals.
Yeah, those two went all over. I'll just say Asia, because apparently they did tours in Japan and China together, and just amazing.
Glad China's getting into wrestling now.
Yeah,
actually allowing some decent competition.
Yeah, the NWA championship was just defended there recently. Colt Cabana was over there. A handful of bigger independent stars were on that tour as well. Just great to see. It's like feels like the walls are being torn down just a bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what's next for China? But yeah, Zachary Wentz goes against Matt Sydal. Now, even though Zachary Wentz, who they called an indie darling, did not get a win here, he had a hell of a match with Matt Sydal. Why don't you give me your thoughts on this? I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Based on what I saw today, I think Zachary Wentz is definitely up and coming on the X division. Once they get that title away from Brian Cage, I think the X division can go back to its lighter, more aerial, dynamic kind of wrestling, and it's gonna show good. It's and I see what he did with Sydal, and it wasn't a squash match, and it not being a squash match is what shows promise. They're giving these guys some real clout, and they're not making them just throwaway wrestlers. They're actually doing well, and I love every minute of that.
Yeah, watching these two before it started, and they do the little, walk around the ring, checking each other out. No, not that way. Shut up. It was almost like a mirror image. I mean, Matt Sydal is an in-ring veteran, and Zachary Wentz has not been around as long. He's been around a few years, I think. I got to do a little more research on him.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at these two face off was like a mirror image. It was like Zachary Wentz, in my opinion, is like a younger version of Sydal. Do you think, baby?
Yeah, definitely. He did look like him, but he had more of the hairdo of knife pervert Jack White from Jay White from New Japan.
Yeah, and go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I saw Sydal wrestle many years ago in Jersey All Pro at some place in, I want to say, Carteret, New Jersey, in a 4-way match. I want to say that also contained Human Tornado and Matt Cross. My memory serves, but some of the best, quick chain wrestling aerial stuff that you would ever see. And I think that Sydal and Wentz definitely complemented each other in this match. As a tag team, they would be phenomenal. If he really wants to open Zach's third eye, this would be the best path to do it. He said he could help him, but let's see where this progresses. I know Desmond Xavier is actually should still be part of Impact, and to have the Rascals as a tag team against Sydal and whoever he puts together with is definitely going to be entertaining further down the line.
Oh yeah, and I've been very vocal about getting those two up in Impact Wrestling as a tag team. And they did mention, I didn't know if they were going to mention this because this was a couple months ago. Those two, I believe they tagged on tag or a 4-way or was something. It was one of the Twitch shows, the Impact Wrestling with Wrestling Revolver, and they mentioned that Zachary Wentz was a part of that as well. You can go to the Twitch channel and go check that out. And it was a great example of the true talent that Zachary Wentz had. It was bar none, almost match of the evening there. And it was after I saw that I was like, oh, I hope to God that he gets a chance up at Impact Wrestling. In fact, the post show it showed last night I was calling him Joey Matthews. It's Josh Matthews. Oh my God, I almost did it again. Josh Matthews was walking around the guys at their tables, signing autographs and stuff. And he said something to them as in, hey, we'll see you up in Canada later. So they, after, they were already planning on bringing them up. It was just a matter of how and when. So it's so happy for Zachary.
And to answer your question about earlier, he had his pro debut in 2014, so not too long ago. And apparently he was from Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, that's one thing they did mention on the show, that he was from Ohio. And that's that crew between Callahan's crew, Matt Cross, Zachary Wentz. There's a core bunch of independent wrestlers that are they're family. They're close. They're like a pack of dogs. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You don't mess with them. They back each other up, and it's growing. It really is. It's great to see. There's something about that Midwestern thing, and I say that with pride because look who's the champ of Impact Wrestling and the champ of almost every other independent company out there.
Yep.
Austin Aries. So, but yeah, great match between Seidel and Wentz. Seidel comes out on top. Nice promo with Brian Cage talking about his time in the X division. Now claiming it as the Weapon X division. I was waiting to see how long it was going to take for them to do that, and he actually, boom, put it out there.
Swolverine, snickety snine.
It's going to be very interesting to see what he does with the X division and that championship in Impact Wrestling. I mean, he's really turned the division on its head, and I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, he's going to do the same thing that Samoa Joe did years ago, and not necessarily the similar effect what Bully Ray did when he was X Division champion, stating that there's no more weight limits in the X Division. But all the time before, barring the Hogan era, the X Division, they said it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. And Cage, well, he's proving slowly but surely, or rather quicker than a hiccup, that there are no limits to what he can and can't do.
Yeah, my first introduction to him was in Lucha Underground back in it was season 1, I guess.
Season 1, and he annihilated Prince Puma in a non-title match. And he took that title. He took the title that Prince Puma had at the time and tore it in half.
Yeah, tore it in half with his teeth. Unbelievable, crazy. What a monster! The stuff that he does. I mean, he's always introducing new things. He's not stuck in. I hate to use this term, 5 moves of doom. That's not an insult on John Cena. He's still one of my favorites, but he's changing it up all the time. Yep. He's amazing. So can't wait to see. And next week we get at Redefined, which is like one of their TV pay-per-views, which I don't knock. People love to knock them. I don't knock them. It's an event, Don't knock it. It's we're getting Cage versus Phoenix for the X Division Championship.
I'm hoping that my namesake, my brother, is out there, putting on the best show that he can, like only he can. But when it comes down to it, I think that in the end, it's going to go in a way that's pretty similar to how it was before, and Cage is going to retain. He's going to hold on to that belt for a little bit to prove that the X Division, you don't necessarily need to be a smaller wrestler to thrive in it.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, looking at the card for next week, and nothing against the champ. I'm glad I'm saying this now. I don't want to upset our guest that we had on this evening, but I think Cage and Phoenix should headline next week. I think they would absolutely tear the house down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell Kross I said that, please. If he hits me up later, I'd be, I kid. Next, we get the Desi Hit Squad with Gama Singh at ringside against Falaba and KM again, but we get KM. He's got a new look. He's got some new, fresh gear on.
Hell yeah. Got that Falaba look.
He's looking like Falaba taking the advice of one smoke show host, Scarlett Bordeaux.
Deceptive wench, that one.
Yeah, she's turning heads and she's changing minds. Your thoughts on Scarlett Bordeaux?
Oh, dangerous, absolutely dangerous, deadly.
I don't want to get you in trouble because I know you have a significant other.
She is 100% dangerous. I mean, pretty face as there ever was, beautiful, but sly, devilish, dangerous. I would not trust her with many things, at least not of all my cat. But this woman, she knows what she wants. She knows how to get it, and she's going to get it anyway she wants. And I look forward to the future, and hopefully sometime in the distant future, the Knockouts division will welcome her into the fray.
Oh yeah. And if you want to see what she can do in the ring, go check out the latest, I believe it's the latest episode of Explosion on the GWN network. As she has a match against, I believe it's Katrina. Ooh. And it was taped a while ago before Scarlett Bordeaux actually became the smoke show. But it's a nice example probably of what we're going to see in the soon to near future. What is up? Lots of people lighting up the chat still. Good evening, everyone. A rumor at Bound for Glory tag team title match, Lucha Brothers versus LAX. I would not mind seeing that, but I don't know. I think LAX still has their handful with some OGs, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Falaba and KM with some new hot, fresh gear, get a win over the Desi Hit Squad. Man, I would not want to be the Desi Hit Squad. And I don't think this takes away from them at all. Just, I think they had a little bit of luck I think KM and Falaba maybe had a little bit of luck on their side.
Just a little. But you know what? It was still a decent, fun match, no question. And I liked to see Falaba and KM out there having fun.
It is. And, it has been a more comical side of Impact Wrestling, but you need that. You can't have every match be a bloodbath. If you want that, you need to go watch something else, like CZW or something. Although that company's actually been changing a lot lately too, from what I've heard. What's going on in the chest? Styles Gaming. What's up, Styles? I'm still waiting for the match between J-Bone versus Killer Kross. Dude, that hurts.
Sorry, Jay, you'd be annihilated, bruh.
I wouldn't have a chance. I'm not even going to dispute that. Hell no. That's just mean, Styles. That hurts. I love you, bro. Why you trying
to hurt him? Why are you trying to hurt my boy?
Why are you trying to hurt the J-Bone, man? It hurts, man. It hurts. Damn. Pour one out for J-Bone. Oh shit. So yeah, I like Falaba's thing with KM. It's like, you know, a goofy version of Solo and Chewie, you know, and I think they do it well. You know, it's goofy, it's evolving, and it's working. So we'll see if they keep getting some wins. I would not be surprised if they get a Impact Wrestling Tag Team Championship match.
Hey, if LAX, the B team can do it on Raw, they can do it in Impact.
Oh God, are the B team actually tag team champions?
Still, yeah.
Still.
Yeah. They won on Raw. They won the week before at the pay-per-view. SummerSlam.
They took them off of Hardy and
Wyatt.
And Wyatt. Man,
yeah,
I feel
because Hardy's injured.
Hardy, I think this is more discussion for another time, honestly. And I don't talk a lot of WWE on here, but man, I feel for Hardy, you know, and he was a big part of this brand too.
Hell yeah.
And he's put himself through so much over the years. And if this is it for Hardy, man, I mean, he came back to WWE, lit up WrestleMania last year.
Mm-hmm.
He and his brother, honestly, beyond a solo thing, don't have to do anything anymore, honestly, in my opinion.
Agree. They've done it all.
They've done it all. And yeah, it's sad, but if this is it, and Hardy's future, as we've seen now, as he's been very public about being a backstage producer now, his wife Rebby said he's dabbling in, you know, testing the waters. She thinks so far it's going well, so
good.
We'll see.
Good to hear.
Yeah. I think he'd be welcome anywhere, honestly. He's great mind in wrestling. Creative. So let's see what's next here. We get the backstage segment. Katrina, Grado, and Joe Hendry talking. And oh man, what comes next? My goodness. Grado.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in so much trouble next week. Oh my goodness.
Hey, that's okay. You know what? He's Grado. He's fun. He's entertaining. He was having a great time.
He was on a stripper pole.
He was on a stripper pole. He was having a great time. I love that guy.
I've got the body that's comparable to Grado, but I am going to spare our viewers the horror of what
he's got a better body than both of us, man. Honestly,
that hurts.
Hey, I'm just speaking the truth here. I'm no slouch, but I'm no Grado.
And I love my beer and mac and cheese too. So Scarlett Bordeaux distracts Grado, and she wants to help him with his slump of luck lately. We'll just say that. And then says, well, if I help you, then, you know, as she's helped KM and Fala, then
you have to do something for me and Bobo.
and Bobo. And apparently Bobo really enjoyed Grado on a stripper pole. He was just
I like this very much.
he was just sitting there.
Munching on his friggin' pork rinds and watching poor Grado up on a friggin' stripper pole just dancing his little heart out.
Oh, it was like that famous gif of Biggie at ringside munching on the popcorn, just going cuckoo. Just
Oh, yeah.
oh, just going nuts. Styles, 1,000 subs. J-Bone does a Grado stripper pole dance.
Would you do it? Would you do it?
I would do something like drastically awesome if I got 1,000 subs. So, and by the way, folks, if you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content, smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when more of my content hits your screen. I didn't do that. I usually kick off the show with that. So by all means, we are on a road to 1,000 subs, trying to get the channel monetized again because YouTube took it away last year.
Gonna be okay, man. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
I don't know why YouTube does this to me.
I don't know either, man.
I'm just trying to keep the good guy down.
We're doing everything we can.
Just drown my sorrows now. But yes, we are on the road to 1,000 subs. So if you are new and you dig the content, smash that sub bell. Do me a solid. We're at 50 something last I checked. I think when we went live, we were at 508. So keep it going.
Halfway there.
Yes, that was a huge compliment. Hitting that 500, that was awesome. 1,000 by next summer. Let's do it. So we got Grado on a stripper pole, Bobo's munching on popcorn, and it was the craziest segment of the episode, in my opinion. Next, we get a match between Kiera Hogan and Alicia. And I'm not going to lie, whenever they do something like post smoke show, I'm like taken away from it a little bit. It takes me a while to like come back. So I love
Kiera Hogan, and I'm looking forward to her building her in-ring career here. I want to see her thrive.
Yeah, exactly.
And her being her partner works great. Seeing Alicia Edwards in the ring for once, it's great. But it because of the previous segment, it didn't have that oomph that it was supposed to. But the talk segment that followed the match after Kiera's win, now that was the thing that sets up the future. When Allie cut a promo on Su Yung and then immediately turned it around on Tessa Blanchard. Now we know Allie has built herself up from being Maria Kanellis-Bennett's little mousy assistant to being the 2-time Knockouts champion to being the Demon Slayer. Think about it. She has really come a long way. And
Allie,
to see what she's going to do to Su Yung and Tessa Blanchard, I am definitely looking forward to it. And Allie, I watch your show every week. Love it.
She's got a YouTube channel, doesn't she?
Hell yeah. Masters of the Multiverse. You get a new episode every week. It's friggin' awesome.
She does stuff with Rosemary, right?
Hell yeah. Dude, the last season was fun. It was just like her and Rosemary having fun and playing around the backstage area and doing stuff fun. But season 2 has a friggin' story, and it's related to what happened after the match with Su Yung, put her in the coffin. Dude, you have got to check it out. It is great storytelling.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's kind of like a Knockouts version of, say, Being the Elite?
Oh. Yes. Yes, and more, and no. It's a little bit more serious this season, but the last season, definitely more Being the Elite.
Okay. I'm just comparing it to, because there is some serious stuff that goes on in being the Elite as far as they show behind the scenes stuff with fans, and then there's storyline stuff that's goofy that keeps it going. Like the ghost of Joey Ryan and stuff like that. So yeah, I did sub to it, but I haven't taken the time to really dive into it because I've been watching so many other things. But yeah, thanks, man. I'm definitely gonna go check that out now, because I tell you, when I became a lot more vested within this last year in Impact Wrestling, I was not into Allie. I didn't, I felt like it was not saying Impact was ripping off WWE, because that's been said 1,000 times.
Oh yeah.
But I felt like Allie was kind of like a Bailey, and I was like, I'm not digging it. I'm not seeing
There
it.
was a little bit of a crossover there for a minute, but she kind of slowly but surely kind of gelled the character that she had in the Indies as Cherry Bomb with her newer persona as kind of a babyface warrior, and it made things a lot better.
Yeah, she's gone through a lot of different things between different stages, different rivalries, and I started to pay more attention. And yeah, I'm not going to say she's one of my favorite knockouts, but
she's my favorite knockout so far this year, and since half of last year, honestly.
I hear you. Yeah, she's come a long way in my opinion, as far as like her development. I've been paying attention more to her in-ring stuff, has completely blown me away.
Yep.
Totally. But yeah, decent match between Kiera Hogan and Alicia. I feel like Alicia still has, I don't know. I don't want to knock a knockout, but
it's a little bit low in in one of her first showings on Impact, but you know what? As time goes on, she'll get more involved in the division, and she'll definitely prove her worth. G-Rod has said that he's seen her on the Indies, and she does perform very well.
okay. So it's a different stage, and it could be nerves, it could be a bunch of different things. Don Callis, if you want to go the kayfabe route, Don Callis said that she just recently separated from Eddie Edwards. So who knows? Maybe that caused some distractions, caused her to not accomplish what she wanted to in this ring. But I feel she's surrounded by a decent amount of talent that she can definitely improve on TV as well. So yeah, Kiera Hogan comes off with a win. Allie then takes the stage as not to take away the starlight of Kiera Hogan's win, but then says that she challenges Su Yung to defend her title against her and Tessa Blanchard, so she can, kick both her teeth in, basically.
Oh yeah.
So we are going to get next week a Knockouts Division Championship match. Su Yung defending against Allie and Tessa Blanchard. And yes, the spoilers have already been spoiled out there. I'm not going to say who it is for the sake of those who don't know. And please don't say it in the chat, but I'm even knowing who won, I'm still looking forward to it.
Yep. Watch the spoilers either. I don't read the dirt sheets, if I can help it. So I'm always willing to surprise myself when it comes to weekly wrestling.
Yeah. And I compare it to, people say, oh, they shouldn't have put the spoilers out there. He said, well, I chalk it up there, to NXT does the same thing now, because they know some hot title change done at a tape show is going to get leaked, So it's you take it with a grain of salt. If you love the product, you're still going to watch,
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's me. So Definitely looking forward to that next week. Next, we get a poolside fight between Congo Kong and Johnny Impact. Didn't catch who Johnny Impact was talking to.
Yeah, nobody like had like a nameplate or anything like that. We don't know who this guy is. Just some Canadian talk show host or something. I don't know.
Something. Someone just running the party at the party. Almost looked like who's that guy on the Conan podcast? Former WCW guy, the Disco Inferno.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like it, but that ain't Disco.
I don't think it was Disco, but that was the first thought that popped in my head. I was like, wow, what's Disco Inferno doing on Impact Wrestling?
Nah, we ain't that lucky.
No,
He hasn't been on Impact. He hasn't been on Impacted since like its early days when it was a NWA TNA weekly pay-per-view on Wednesdays.
Styles. Glenn Gilberti. Yeah. There
That's
you
right.
go. Yeah. Agents. Wait, a poolside fight? Really? Yeah, they do those once in a while. Yeah. It was goofy. It just furthered the feud, and then Congo Kong ended up diving at Johnny Impact. I keep wanting to call him Mundo, but whatever.
Yeah, he's Mundo to us.
Yeah. I call him Johnny Fusion on MLW because it's MLW Fusion. So the man of many names and many talents. So yeah, Congo Kong goes for the big splash and makes a splash in the pool. Literally. And, and figuratively. And
yeah, I guess.
Indubitably. So I'm sure we're going to get that continuation soon as well. I don't think it was announced as part of the redefined matches, though. They only listed 4 matches and the smoke show, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I have no doubt it's going to come soon, though. Rich Swann interview with Allie. Allie's a breath of fresh air to Impact Wrestling, and so is Rich Swann, for that matter. She talks to him. She talks to him about his X Division goals, and that he sees the ones from the past, and he wants to keep that trend going and continue the legacy of the X Division. But honestly, with the talents of Rich Swann, I could totally see him going for the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship someday. I don't think he should limit his goals.
Once he actually conquers the X Division and possibly even conquers the tag division, I have no doubt that if Eddie Edwards can do it, and if Austin Aries can do it, Rich Swann could definitely do it. All he needs is the right build and the right opponent.
Oh yeah, and with the people that are running Impact Wrestling now, they have a broad spectrum of imagination to where anyone can fit that bill. I don't think they want to put limitations. Like you said, it's got to be booked right. You can't just throw people in there. You got to tell a story, and that's one thing that Impact Wrestling has been doing so good lately. So yeah, we'll see what Rich Swann has in store next. In fact, he's almost forgot. He's facing Petey Williams next week at Redefined. So hey, that's going to tear down the house too.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
it's going to be a good build.
I'm sure the winner of that match is probably going to lead to maybe an X Division title shot down the road. Maybe.
Here's hoping.
Petey Williams already lost to Cage, though. I think, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's kind of why him and Rich are actually facing each other. I think they're at the back of the pack, so they're working their way back up, I suppose. And if the interview is to be believed, it's Rich that's getting the rub.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're both in-ring veterans, but Petey Williams has accomplished so many things in the world of professional wrestling and in the past of this company as TNA. So, yeah, we'll see where it leads to. Let's see. Then we get the Cult of Lee with Eli Drake at ringside at commentary. Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley versus two, I'm guessing, local Canadians from the independent scene there, Brandon Tidwell and Mr. Atlantis. I'm not familiar with these guys at all.
Yeah, me neither. It's the first time I'm seeing him. That one guy looks like a Rhino, just like slimmed down and shaved.
Yeah, yeah. And the other guy looks like, I don't know. Looks like a Matt Cross, a bald Matt Cross with his beard.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we get an upset win because Cult of Lee is too busy trying to impress Eli Drake at ringside and really try become of the dummy crew. They shouldn't have they should have paid attention to what they were doing. They could have had an easy win over these guys. They're very talented.
Couple of dummies. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Speaking of
Never get
dummies, this week
Yeah.
you got that dummy button going. I even downloaded that on my phone. I don't know what happened to it. Night of the Dummies this Saturday. I'm not sure where it's being taped. It's not live. It's being taped for a one night only that's going to air in a few weeks on the GWN network. They're also got another show going on, and I don't remember which one it was. You got to look it up on social media. They're advertising both. And that also was going to be recorded for a one night only in October, I believe. I didn't catch a name for that. So they're all over the place lately. The company's on fire. Mexico, one night only tapings. November, they're going out to Kevin Kross's neck of the woods in Vegas, where they do FSW stuff. They are going to be doing tapings and some talent searching out there as well. So we'll see where that entails. Can't wait to see. Then we get something that really, I don't want to say it upset me, but it shocked me. This rivalry between LAX and the OGs got really dark, and I'm a little surprised.
Oh yeah, like Boys in the Hood dark.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they went to this extreme, and it just at first I didn't know how to react to it, because I mean I'm a father of a kid that looks like about the same age of the one that got ran over in this skit, and I was like, oh my goodness. So
oh yeah.
So this
Hopefully
feud
this is not going to be like a Katie Vick thing where they just too far, just beyond the pale.
Oh no! I mean, we've got guys like King and Conan running the show here for these for this rivalry. You know, they're obviously putting their input into it. I'm a little surprised they went this far, so I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not watching Impact Wrestling anymore." It's the first time in a long time that I was just kind of like rubbed the wrong way a little bit.
A little bit. You know, I was just kind of like, oh, that was dark. Yeah.
Obviously the feud is not over, as I suspected it was last week after Conan gave the it's a flapjack. What's it called?
Slapjack.
Slapjack. Thank you. No, it wasn't a bag of pancakes. Forgive me. I was screwing that up last week. Then Big E rang in with the pail of
pancakes and the flapjacks. Hey, we got Conan with a slapjack.
And then they started dancing. Oh dear God! See, I had to pick it up. I was getting sad. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. A match has not been announced yet, but man, I don't know how they can top last week. We'll see where that.
True.
See ya. Styles. All right, J-Bone, I'm going to call it a night. Big day tomorrow. You'll see on my Facebook. All right. Good evening to you, sir. I will check out with things with you tomorrow. Take care, Styles. Thanks for stopping by, man. Much the support and love is much appreciated. Um, Almost done here. Just got a couple things left. We'll go over the card for Redefined right after we talk about the main event here. The Mexican Death Match. Short but sweet. This was only about 10, 15 minutes showtime.
Yeah.
Pentagon Jr. versus Callahan was not as extreme as their match at Slammiversary, in my opinion, but it was still very fun. They had tables, chairs, pinatas getting busted open with
The shaver inside?
a shaver that almost ended up attacking someone in the audience because it bounced up 15 feet in the air. It was hilarious. Your thoughts on this death match, dude?
You know what? Considering as I was like kind of back and forth on this one, having a conversation while trying to simultaneously watch that, preparing for the show this evening, I kind of like half saw that and half didn't. But honestly, yeah, I agree. It definitely wasn't as entertaining as their match at Slammiversary. You know, that was the culmination of a feud. They want to renew this rivalry and keep it going. You know, they're trying too hard to go beyond the pinnacle of what they had before. And unfortunately, once you go to that level of blood, that level of violence, there's no way to go but down. You can't top that. That's a pay-per-view quality death match. You're trying to top that with a battle of tables, ladders, chairs, and pinatas with special prizes inside. Okay, it's a nice twist, but it's not going to be something that tops that pay-per-view match. Their rivalry is going down. But you know what? As there is a lull, there will ultimately be a rise again, and I'm interested to see where this thing goes because it took forever to for Sammy Callahan to finish his rivalry with Eddie Edwards. And once Eddie got his revenge and Sammy recuperated, he chose a different target. And that target is a dangerous freaking target, about as dangerous as he is, probably even more so. That being said, he already lost his hair. He's going to lose a lot more. And, Pentagon is Pentagon. He's never going to lose his mask. And if he does, he's going to be protected in form. So I honestly think, more pain, more violence, but ultimately there's, what I'm asking to this feud. That's what I want to know. Just saying.
Yeah, it's also going to be very interesting to see what Pentagon does this weekend because he's in that Triple Mania match. 4 guys going against each other who are masked, and the loser gets unmasked. And it's Pentagon, La Parca, Phantasma, and Psycho Clown?
Something like that. I think G-Rob was telling me about that yesterday. Yeah, stands to reason.
So 4 guys who are, they're well known with their lineage in the the mask department in their culture. I can't imagine anyone really losing the mask. We'll see. Yeah, I'm going to be watching this Saturday. I'm very curious to see what happens. And like I said, while we were talking to Killer Kross, Matt Stryker and Vampiro are going to be calling the action on the English AAA Twitch channel. Just hit them up on social media. Excuse me. You can find the link. They'll be promoting it the next few days leading up to Saturday night's show. So, and there's a lot of stuff I don't know on there, but the fact that Stryker and Vampiro are running the commentary just draws me right in. I love those guys. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this one. Callahan comes off with a win, even getting stapled in the cojones and beating Pentagon with a pile driver through the table. The one they said, and they keep reminding the fans of this because it is special, it is significant, the move bestowed to him from one of the craziest sons of bitches in the world of professional wrestling, Mr. Mick Foley. Which I think is pretty awesome. If someone like Mick Foley tips a hat to you and passes a move down to you, I don't know what to say else about that. That is just effing incredible. It's crazy. You know? I just want to thank everyone again for joining me this evening. This was probably the biggest thing for my channel, and I don't say this braggingly. I say this most humbly. I was amazed that I could get Killer Kross on here. I felt it was the right time, seeing as he's back in the champ and he's accomplished a lot up to this point. And I just want to thank him again for being on here. And thank you, Chris Phoenix. I'm glad you could join me this evening for this. Not going to lie, I'm glad I wasn't solo for this because the man even talking to me from his home still scares the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie.
I feel you. I'm right there with you, brother.
And as the interview went on, things got darker and darker and darker. And I'm like, okay, I need to wrap this up.
Yeah. Sun's going down. Sun's getting real low, big guy.
Because I felt like if it went any further, like something was going to start glowing and then things were just going to get really freaky. That's like, I had that feeling, you know? So,
yeah.
So, and I don't know where that's going, but anyways, but thanks again, Chris Phoenix, for joining me for this, this special edition. Yeah. Special edition. Need to take a nap, go to bed. Smash this podcast. Like I said, if you're new to the content, there's plenty more of this where it came from. Go check it out in your spare time. Don't forget to smash that like button, smash that sub button, and ring that bell for notifications so that you know when more of my content hits your screen. Good night, folks. I'll be watching Triple Mania this weekend. Probably, maybe, possibly reviewing it. I reviewed the last one. A lot of familiar Impact and Lucha Underground faces in this one. So yeah, we'll probably give it a spin sometime this weekend. We'll see you guys down the road real soon. Take care.